first of all, welcome to the Melbourne Stars, Andy. How does it feel to take the reins of a Big Bash team and that in the Melbourne Stars?
Yeah, thanks, Maisie. Obviously something that has come about relatively quickly in terms of my coaching journey, but certainly excited for the opportunity. There's a number of things, like you look at the list, which I'm sure we'll get to, but the way the list has been put together and the potential there, and obviously the Stars as a brand, significantly one of the shop front windows, if you like, of Cricket Victoria. So keen to get involved and looking forward to it.
Tell us about your coaching journey so far, and obviously last year taking over the Victorian women's team for the first time.
Yeah, it's funny, just reflecting just the other day, probably go back 10 years ago, I was running school clinics for the Melbourne Stars region, so turning up 10 years ago doing that, and now 10 years down the track looking after the WBBL side. So a bit of an interesting one, having gone through sort of my teacher by trade and delved into a bit of sports science, doing an undergrad and a master's degree in that area, and slowly but surely worked my way through, and a little bit of time in Premier Cricket with the Dandenong Cricket Club, and eventually found my way into Cricket Victoria in the talent development manager role, and now taking over the Victorian state program as well. It's all happened relatively quickly, but certainly excited to see where we get.
Just on that talent development, had you worked previously with a couple of the players that we'll see for both the Stars and the Renegades in that program?
Certainly their involvement in that underage program, be it under 19s or even back at the under 16 age group, we've certainly seen a few of them. They come to mind. So Reece McKenna's a great example of someone that I've had plenty of time and work with, and even go back to obviously the Renegades side, but Sophie Molyneux, having involved with her at Dandenong when I first started. She was on her early journey into Cricket Australia, and now we see less of her. But so players like that you get the opportunity to be involved with across the journey is certainly been really exciting.
As a coach, you sort of haven't gone through the most traditional pathway.
Yep.
How important do you reckon it is to have had different experiences coming through? We often see coaches in other sports who've done completely different careers. A lot of them have come from a teaching background, but how important is that, and how much has that shaped you as a coach?
Yeah, certainly a lot. Like really fortunate, I've had some great sort of, call them mentors, or people that I've been able to be around, whether it's obviously most recently with Simon Helmut in the Renegades, or even David Hemp back in the day with the Melbourne Stars, being able to be around those players. But spending time in other sports, whether it's at the VIS, managed to do some work with the diving team, the sailing, aerial skiing, hockey, just get a different perspective on how people problem solve, which is a big part of elite sport, is when you're in the moment, what's my problem solving techniques, and how do I work my way through high pressure moments.
This is a general question, and probably one about your coaching philosophy. Do you reckon T20 cricket suits more experienced players or youth, or is it good to have a mix of both?
Yeah, great question. I think we've seen across the world that there's a nice blend of probably both those aspects. Certainly having experience in your team does help. In those high pressure moments, they can work their way through, and as I mentioned earlier, just around that problem solving piece. But as we see players coming through now, they're fearing fear less, and they're able to take the game on and just see it for what it is and not overcomplicate things. And I think the way the game is going, it's becoming very expansive. It's becoming very unique in the way you either bat or you bowl, and bringing something different to the table is certainly helpful in T20 cricket, because it's so you need to be approaching it in a way that's unexpected, be one step ahead of where the game's going.
What about the Stars list? There's obviously plenty of talent on there, and I know the playing group was really disappointed over the last couple of years, really, not to make the finals. What do you see there, and what are maybe some of the areas for improvement?
Yeah, I mean, you do look at it and you go, you've got a nice blend of, you mentioned experience earlier, you've got a nice blend of whether it's Cricket Australia contracted players, internationals, those players that are coming through that next level, Australia A, under 19s even. So we've got a nice blend there of youth and experience, and now a lot of players have played a lot of WBBL. So I think like a Kim Garth and a Annabelle Sutherland, obviously, spending spending a lot of time with the Australian team, being exposed to different competitions around the world as well will certainly help drive the direction of where the Stars obviously want to go. We haven't been where we wanted to be in sort of the last 4 or 5 years, having made the finals only once. So having players like that, Marizanne Kapp obviously last year, and into next year with having her back will be brilliant. And a nice mix of, I mentioned Reece McKenna before, but a Sophie Day, a Sophie Reid for players that can come in and play their way, play their natural game.
That nice core group of Victorians too, how important is that? And obviously you get to work with them all year round too, so how much of a benefit is that for you?
Yeah, brilliant. I think also having sort of a Clint Mackay in the building at the same time to help either drive those conversations that we need to have and be really clear on game plans. So that those conversations can happen right now. It's not so much a turn up a week before the WBBL and hey, here's the game plan or here's some development areas for you. We can be really planned and considered in that approach. And being able to spend time with them across the season is absolutely crucial, I think, and being able to give them capacity to grow and build and elevate their games to a place that they want to take it to.
And Annabelle Sutherland as well. Obviously, you probably don't get to work with her quite as much because she's off with the Australians and different tournaments around the world. But just her development and the role you can play there with her. She obviously had her first year as captain, but coming into year 2 and still growing into that role.
Yeah, certainly. I think Annabelle and I, we've already had a few good conversations around reflecting on her last few years and obviously involving some other senior players in that, like a Meg Lanning and a Kim Garth in terms of, okay, where do we want to take this group? What's sort of our brand of cricket or what's going to be our trademark? So being able to sit down with Belzy and work through her vision as well has been really insightful and been really helpful to be able to create a bit of a plan moving forward and how we want to approach WBBL 11.